Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. Also, happy Monday if you guys are listening to the show on release date. Hopefully you've had a great weekend. You're relaxed, you're refreshed, you're ready to take on the week. And we are ready to take on the very last song, the last bonus track on Sea of Light called Sail the Rivers. But before we do that, we have some people to thank because it's Monday. And Monday is our gratitude day on this show. Damn it, we're going to do it. First of all, if you guys haven't checked out the Everyday Rocks box set from Uriah Heep and BMG, grab that. There can't be too many left, if there's any at all. 7 picture discs, 7 t-shirts, a wall calendar, these wonderful cards that are all in there. I did an unboxing video on it, a full-length unboxing video. Check that out. The links are in the show notes for that. Also available, if there are any still, is the Choices box set. This is a continuation of the Choices CDs that were made available last year in the 50th anniversary box set, where a couple of the band members had said, these are the songs that I would say you should listen to figure out who Uriah Heep is. We've added some members. So it's a complimentary set to the 50th anniversary box set. And if you didn't get the 50th anniversary box set, which is now no longer available, you can grab all the CDs that were done this way on the Choices box set. Again, links are in the show notes. Now, another thing that's very important, especially as we get closer to the end of the year and into 2022, we want to get Uriah Heep inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They deserve to be there. I don't know why they're not there. They're in the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame, but not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And certainly, even just for their contributions to the music world in the 70s alone, they deserve to be there, let alone all the things they've done since. I mean, album 25 is coming out here pretty soon. They've had songs in television shows, the radio, huge success with some songs, and they've just been an amazing band. Their attitude, their professionalism, their love for doing what they do, and the influence that they've had on the music world, they deserve to be in there. So let's get them in there. There is a link on the podcast page of my website, Uriah Heep. If you go to scotthaskin.com, click the Uriah Heep podcast link, you can go right there to the link to click on to sign the petition that we're going to take to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Ohio and say, get these guys in here. They deserve it, damn it. So go there. Or if you're on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/HeepRockHall. All one word, Heep Rock Hall, and hit enter, and that will take you to the sign-up page, or the page that leads you to the sign-up page. So check that out, guys. Let's get them in there. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know what we need, but obviously the more people that sign that sheet, the better off we are. So if you haven't done so already, please make a note to do that today. Get it in there. And I would say I'll quit bugging you once you do it, but I won't know that you've done it. And I'm talking to a lot of people. So that's not going to happen. I'm going to keep talking about it because I really want to see them get in there. And so do you guys, I'm sure. So, also some people that have helped out the show and continue to do so on a monthly basis are our patrons. And I want to give a big shout out to these guys. It's amazing just to see, the email I get every month. And it just makes me smile that I'm doing something that makes people happy and that they're willing to pay for it without being required to pay for it. I mean, people don't even pay for music anymore. So it's pretty cool. And speaking of people that pay, at the $5 easy living tier, we have Brad D and Kenny Wymore. Brad, I assure you on this episode, it is Lee Kerslake. A little bit of an inside joke. At the $3 The Wizard tier, we have William Rose, Frank Teelgaard Mortensen, Goran Eriksson, and Peter Voss. And at the $1 Traveler in Time tier, the Forever Entombed, airtight gravesite. Thank you guys all very much from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me that you guys are willing to do that. If you guys would also like to be a patron or even make a one-time donation to the show, you can go to the bottom of said website, scotthaskett.com, click the Uriah Heep podcast link, go to the bottom, and you should see the PayPal and Patreon links right there at the bottom. And, there are a couple other people that have helped. My friends over at Podbean, who are the distributors of this show, and they are the ones that put it out onto Stitcher and iTunes and Apple and, all the places that you could be listening to the show and wherever you are listening to the show. They even provide the player that I put on the website. Now, for you guys, in case you're not familiar, I haven't talked about this in a while, so I'll just tell you real quick. If you go to the website, the last, I think, 20 or 40 episodes are available on the player that's on that main Uriah Heep podcast page. And if you go down to where the individual season links are, each album is a season. We're finishing season 19 today. You go down there, you click on that season, and if that show has already aired, it takes you to a list of all the available shows for that season, and you click on that, and it takes you to an individual player that will play that particular show. So you have access to all of that. And of course, if you're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Apple Podcasts, any of those places, all those episodes that have already aired should be there with you. Now, I do have the rest of the pages through Living the Dream set up, but obviously there are no links there for the shows because we haven't got there yet. So we are filling them in as we go, though. 4 shows a week. We're getting there pretty quick. I don't have a release date for the new album yet, so I will be curious to see how far along, how close I am to Living the Dream, reporting on this show by the time that the new album comes out. Now, obviously, I don't want to do a review of the album right away because that, unless it comes after Living the Dream for some reason, which I think I'll be hitting in March, unless the album comes out after that, then what I'm going to do is do a first impression review and just do like one show on the whole album itself. And then once I hit the timeline where the album comes out, then I'll go and do each of the individual new tracks, just like I'm doing on all of these seasons. We'll have a proper season on that. But I do want to touch base on it when it comes out. I want to check it out. I want to get a first impression, like just right off the bat, here's what this makes me feel. And it'll be interesting to see how that may be affected or how well it changes as I get to know the songs and do the actual full review at the end of the Living the Dream season. So it's all going to be dependent on the release date. But either way, even if it releases after Living the Dream, then obviously I'll just do my regular season review of that album when it hits. So looking very, very forward to that. So thank you, Podbean, for distributing the show, for getting it to all those places it would take me forever to do if I had to do all that myself. And the time it would have taken to set all that up also would have been a much bigger nightmare than it was. The gentleman that did the logo for the show, Scott Lazinski, thank you very much. My friends at Audionamics, I will not do a podcast without Instant Dialogue Cleaner. It is the greatest tool in my arsenal, and I have thousands of tools in that toolbox. Dave White, he's our social media director for Uriah Heep. He is the one that posts on Twitter and on Facebook and has shared pretty much every episode of the show. He's been very supportive. He's been a guest on the show on a couple songs this season. Thank you, Dave, for all that you do. He also runs the Uriah Heep website as well as mick-box.net. So check those sites out. There's tons and tons and tons of pages. Lots of great information there. So give those a whirl. He's really done an amazing job, and he's going to have his work cut out for him once again when the new album comes out. Also, a huge thank you to everyone who has shared the show. The posts I make when it releases, the posts that Dave makes when a show comes out, or just told people about the show. It's so much is done by word of mouth, guys. And without that, the show would not be anywhere near as successful as it is. So thank you all very much for all you've done to do that. And last but not least, of course, some podcasts that we are affiliated with in the Deep Dive Network, the Deep Purple Podcast. We have the Skinnerd Reconsidered podcast. We have T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the other side. We have Sabbath Bloody podcast. We have the In the Lap of the Pods podcast, which is about the band Queen. We have Hawk Binge. We have Maiden A to Z pod. We have Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Ozzy podcast. We have Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers podcast. Red Hot Chili Peppers pod. That's hard to say. Red Hot Chili Peppers podcast. Actually, it does kind of have like a really nice rhythm to it, doesn't it? I'm going to have to work a song around that. And of course, the Judas Priest podcast, we have our friends over at the Metal Gods podcast. Thank you guys all for being a part of such a wonderful network. Everybody's been very supportive. When a new podcast joins, we all just kind of jump in and say, here's the deal. What can we do to help? Let's get you on the poster. Let's share. And there is the hashtag on Twitter, Deep Dive Podcast Network. And there is a Deep Dive Podcast Network.com, I think it is, or .net website. And that is going to be a further developed thing when we have time to work on it. Also, a couple other very great places that you should check out. If you are a fan of Metallica, check out Brandon at Metallicast. Great podcast over there. Also, check out the website, gottahear'emall.com, where Allegra tells you about Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Deep Purple, and all kinds of crazy, crazy things. And then, of course, Ace on Music, which you can find on Stitcher and YouTube. Ace is the manager of bands like Uriah Heep, Thin Lizzy, and the Graham Bonnet Band. Recent addition there. So lots of great stuff going on, guys. Check that all out. I've also got links to interviews that I've done with the band on the Uriah Heep the Uriah Heep podcast website, and all kinds of fun stuff there. So go check out all that stuff. You can check it out while you're listening. Unless you're driving, don't be looking at the web while you're driving. Stop that. We need you for stuff. So all that being said, let's get into this final song. It's kind of bittersweet. I mean, I'm excited to cover the song, but also, I'm kind of sad that this is the last song of this season. I've really enjoyed this album. So Sail the Rivers was not included on the album. It was recorded during the Sea of Light sessions in 1994 through 1995. And it was decided to be released as a bonus track on the live album Spellbinder in 1996. So it didn't have to wait that long to be released, just a year down the road. Not too bad considering some of these songs waited decades to be heard by the public. So that's really cool. I'm very happy about that. It is quite a long song. I could say that the song is almost 7 minutes. So that might have been a consideration as to why it wasn't on the album. That's very possible. I don't know. But in any case, let's check it out. Here is Sail the Rivers, the final bonus track on Sea of Light by Uriah Heep. Wow, had absolutely no idea where that song was going from that really cool keyboard and guitar intro. Very interesting. I think there might have been 2 different guitars playing on that. I'm not sure, definitely one for sure. But it sounded really interesting with the organ. That was a nice fade in. And then, once you hear Lee Kerslake, something's about to happen. It changes directions completely. I love this bass line. It's just like a great down and dirty bass line. Really sounds good too. The bass is cutting through. So far, this is a really nice mix for a demo song. Like the way it sounds, and we'll just have to hear what happens next.
Would you give me one more chance if I agreed to your demands? Or will you turn the knife real slow? Keep me in pain till I can take no more. Would you take the breath from my life? Are you looking for something I never do right? I should be the one to let go. I can free your body and soul.
What a great riff that Mick is playing. His guitar sounds absolutely fantastic. He's playing very smoothly. It's a somewhat, kind of an intricate riff. It's got a little bit of detail to it. It's not just strumming and changing the chords. It's got a particular feel, which is really good. And, the band is backing that up really well. Bernie's vocals sound fantastic. Big surprise there. I can't think of a single thing I've heard him do that I didn't really like. He has some surprising choices for the pitches that he chooses, for the, melodic side of how he introduces a line into the song. But overall, just a great singer. And I love the mood of the song too. It's kind of, it kind of has a feel of like a nightclub late at night where it's really dark and there's just like maybe a bulb that just shines over the table, but doesn't really give you a view of the floor. I don't know why I'm getting that image, but it just has that feeling to me. I really like it. It's intriguing.
So here we stand, like actors in a play, on an don't you know I still need you? Oh, I need you.
I really like that too, that the riff is kind of off of the beat instead of right on it, which gives it a nice little edge. And the sound of Mick's guitar is so good on this. I really, really love it. But I love that little break. I love those, quick 4 hits that they do there in the transition. Really powerful. That was a great way to kick into the vocal at the beginning of the song, and then they repeat it here as they're coming back into the verse again. I really like that. It's kind of unexpected. It almost seems like it's a little bit aggressive for the song at that tempo to just jump in with that. But at the same point, they do it in a way that's a little more, it doesn't sound powerful. It just sounds like it fits with the song. So that's very, very intelligently played.
If I asked for one more night, would you let me bathe in your light? Would you let me cover you up and wrap myself around you so you feel my love? Is this just the heat of the day, or am I really feeling this way? I see your silent tears before the storm. I feel the breeze from a love that's gone.
What I really love about the bass line during the verse here is that it really breathes. It's not trying to cover all the spaces. It gives when the pattern repeats, it gives a big open spot before it goes back into that again, and it just does this little walk to get back into it for the next line. I really like that, and the sound of the bass is really good here. It's not overbearing, it's not distorted. It's just got this really good feel to it. I would love to say that I know he's playing finger bass, but he may not be. It just doesn't have, I'm not hearing that edge that you hear when a bass player plays with a pick. It very much sounds like he's playing with his fingers, but I could be wrong on that. To be honest, I have no specific knowledge on how he played this song. I'm just basing that off of what I hear. But the mix is really good too. I'm hearing him a little bit to one side. I'm hearing Mick more to the right. The keyboards, I'm hearing just some pads coming in. Again, really more designed to thicken the song than be heard from a melodic standpoint, at least based on this mix. But I really like this. It has such an amazing mood to it.
You've always walked on the open sand. You'd risk it all, so I'd reach out my hand. I tried so hard to hold on to you. 'Cause don't you know I still need you? Sail the river and drift away. Find yourself on another day. Don't reach out, you'll have to hold me at bay. 'Cause I will always follow you. Take your knife and cut me down. Spill my blood, watch it fall to the ground. There's no way to turn me around. 'Cause I will always follow you.
Well, it took us 2 full minutes to get to backing vocals, but they sound fantastic on this. Very well mixed, especially for a demo version. But perhaps because it was being released on the other album, they decided to do a full mix of it. Sounds fantastic, to be honest. I love the introduction of this little flute that I'm going to replay that ending for you guys, or that last couple of seconds. But that sounds really cool in here. We haven't really heard that since, what was it? Mistress of All Time, I think, was the last time that we heard the flute, but it sounds really good. So that's, I'm sure, Phil playing that. Guitars are really nice. Just the sound of them is fantastic. I like how the bass changes in this part to be a little bit busier, but still has just a little bit of that breathable open space in it, not trying to cover quite everything, but filling in much more than during the verse. So it keeps the chorus a little more exciting and dramatic. But this whole song just sounds fantastic to me. That was pretty interesting. I mean, those lines, be with you, I will always follow you. And then we hear this, these really creepy sounds from Phil, kind of makes it a little stalker sounding thinking about those words. But, the part that they go into here is really nice, just very straightforward, very open. I was kind of just waiting to see who was going to come in and do some solo work, whether it was going to be Phil or Mick. And I kind of like the feel that Mick was in the distance and we kind of had to sail up to him to hear what he was doing. And we didn't get that close. He was a little bit further away in the mix still, but I really liked what he played. I think had it been too up front in the mix, it might have been too much for the song. So having it, a little bit laid back there in the sound field, I think might have helped that a little bit, but I really like what he played. I think it was very nice, very fitting of the song. It all just depends on where you want to take the song. Had we had like a part where they doubled the beat on the tempo the way that we did in the last song, that would have changed things, obviously, but they didn't. I'm glad that they kept that pretty straightforward. And then that transition again, those 4 hits going right back into the verse. So, really cool long solo section. I really like that.
If I was to offer my life, I'd give it up just to bathe in your life. And you can have it all, my heart, my body, my soul. Is this just the heat of the day, or am I really feeling this way? I wipe away the tears before the storm. I feel a breeze from a love that's gone.
Man, Bernie just delivers these lines in such a way that you really feel for him as a character. You just kind of want to go through the song and give the guy a hug because he's obviously, not in the best of places right now as he's unfolding the story to us. But I love the sound of his voice. I mean, he really knows how to control his sound. He knows how to sing for the song and not for himself. He's not showing off with all kinds of tricks that I know he's got in his bag. He's very much a songwriter singer, as they would say. But I really like what he's doing on here. And of course, the band just sounds so good and tight on this one.
I feel a breeze from a love that's gone. So here we stand, nothing left to say. I did it all, but you turned me away. I tried so hard to get through to you.
Well, speaking of getting through, there were some nice little sounds on the keyboard coming through there. They didn't quite sound like that brassy sound. It was maybe a little bit more like the flute. It could have been. I'm not exactly sure because it was blending in very, very nicely with the rest of the sound. But I definitely noticed it, and I thought it was nice to hear that cut through. Gives the song a little bit of a different feel in that moment too.
But don't you know, I still need you. Sail the river and drift away. Find yourself on another day. Don't reach out, you'll have to hold me at bay. 'Cause I will always follow you. Take your knife and cut me down. Spill my blood, watch it fall to the ground. There's no way to turn me around. 'Cause I will always follow you. Be a part of you. Sail the river and drift away. Find yourself on another day. Sail the river and drift away. 'Cause I will always follow you. I will always be part of you.
Yeah, I think that was the flute that we heard cutting through that one section as well. But I love what he's playing here. And he had played that part a couple times earlier where he's doing a little bit of a pitch bend on the flute. That sounds really good. It adds some more flavor to the song, I think. But I love these little changes, the transitions that they're doing. I love how strong the song sounds because, it is kind of a risk when you do transition from one part into another. You could lose the listener. But for me, I mean, I'm fully engaged on the song. It sounds really good. Well, I really love those gentle accents from Mick that we're hearing. They just add, kind of like that pitch bend on the flute. It just adds a little bit of different flavor to the song. It keeps it interesting instead of it just being something that's going to repeat for the last 2 minutes, as they're just kind of going into this chorus again. But I really like it. I love the backing vocals. I think they are blended great with the lead vocal on this. Just everything is come together so well in the song. Yeah, I definitely think this song has some serious merit. I mean, if the issue was that it was too long for the album, they could have cut it down a little bit for sure and made it fit. But in any case, they chose the songs that they did. This wasn't included, but I certainly think it would have been a great album closer, as it is for the season. We get it at least on the bonus edition of the CD. And like I said, I mean, it came out a year after the album, so it's not like people had to wait a couple decades and went, oh my God, there's an extra song on Sea of Light. Look at that. I've never heard that before. No, they got to hear it if they got the other album. So great song, though. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this season. It's been a roller coaster. Loved having Dave on the show a couple times. I'm sure he'll come back and do some more shows with us. We're already talking about it. And hope you guys enjoyed it as well as I did, because this album has been fantastic. I think they've really found some new footing with it, and be very curious to see where we go in season 20. We'll find out tomorrow. Have a great day, guys. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magicians Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!